Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some breaking news about Christian Dior. Yes, the mega brand Dior, which is owned by the parent company LVMH, which is headed up by the famous rich Bernard Arnault and his family. Well, I've read a bunch of articles and I've done my research. This is fresh off the press and I'm going to summarize for you in this video what the heck's going on. It's really bad. All right, as we know, Dior is a French brand, but all of this media frenzy is happening in Italy primarily because, as you can see in this on this headline, it says LVMH's Italian Dior maker is being investigated for outsourcing its luxury manufacturing to Chinese-owned firms that allegedly exploit workers. It's not allegedly, actually, you'll see. So they say Italian Dior maker because this is the manufacturing sites in Italy. Here it says Dior handbags unit under fire amid allegations of labor exploitation. Again, I don't think it's allegations at this point. They've completed the investigation. I'm going to share with you their findings and the result. And by the way, LVMH has declined to comment. So here it says LVMH's unit put under court administration in Italy over labor exploitation. Let me explain what that means, because in Italy, the court can basically oversee your operations if you have been proven to be incompetent and you are breaking the law or you are bending the rules. Once again, Dior Italy unit put under court control on alleged labor issues. So let me get into the nitty-gritty with you guys. All right, this is the article by The Fashion Law. All right. A Milan court has appointed a commissioner to oversee the operations of Dior Manufacturers, SRL, an LVMH-owned maker of Dior handbags. Dior handbags, you guys remember I used to own a Lady Dior. I've since let it go, but Dior handbags, I'm sure many of you own them. After an investigation into 4 of its suppliers in and around Milan, okay, that's why there's so much happening within the Italian media, quote, uncovered illegal working conditions for staff, Reuters reported. Okay, and I have the Reuters article here as well. So they did on-site inspections, all right? This happened in March and April, and they completed the investigation, and they found that laborers were working for extended hours. They were working into the night and during the holidays. Actually, there's another article that says that they used data mapping to check the electricity consumption. That's pretty clever. And it showed that there was, quote, seamless day to night production cycles, including during the holidays. Okay, this is from Reuters. In addition, this really bothers me. In addition, safety devices have been removed from the machinery to allow the workers to operate faster. Okay, they want to churn out faster. So when we talk about quality issues among luxury fashion brands, isn't that interesting? They remove safety devices so that workers can produce faster. Oh gosh. And then it says here, this allowed contractors to rein in costs and charge Dior as little as 53 euros. 53 euros. This was also in another article, so it's been cross-checked. 53 euros to supply a handbag. What? Imagine they make a handbag for 53 euros. That's under $100 US dollars. And then it is sold for thousands in the Dior boutiques. I feel like a total sucker. I really do. I knew on some level that there would be, some loopholes and game playing and unfortunately abuse of privilege and power at this level, especially under a huge conglomerate like LVMH. But to see it in writing and to see hard numbers, it's appalling. All right, so it says the Dior unit did not adopt, quote, appropriate measures to check the actual working conditions or the technical capabilities of these contracting companies. Wow. So you don't know who they've hired, what companies they've hired. And they've failed periodic audits that they've been, these production sites, these manufacturing sites have to go through regular audits, and they've been failing over the years. Not just a one-time thing. This is a major issue. But there's more. It's interesting. So Dior, as I said, is owned by LVMH. That's the parent company. They also own Louis Vuitton, Fendi, many, many, many brands. They're a multi-billion-dollar organization. It says here, the company's parent, LVMH, is not under investigation. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's just break this down in very simple terms. I have 2 children. If my child breaks the law, as the mom, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be called in for questioning as well. Because there is a level of responsibility and accountability there, especially in business. Because LVMH, at the end of the day, profits off of Dior. That's how it works. It all rolls up to the same top. And then it goes on to say that subcontractors exploited undocumented and illegal workers and failed to comply with labor, health, and safety rules to slash production costs. To make another $1 billion a year? I mean, they are cutting safety measures. They are cutting working conditions. They are breaking the law. They are underpaying. And this is also, they can squeeze out another dollar. This is absolute corporate greed and corruption. I hate to say it because I am a participant in this world. If you've ever purchased anything from luxury fashion or any brand that might be doing something like this behind the scenes, we've all participated in it, so it's not like I'm sitting here preaching on a high horse. I just am disgusted that this is happening, and I'm not going to mince my words. Can we just point out that Dior is the second biggest fashion label under the LVMH umbrella? The first one is probably Louis Vuitton, but they're generating over $10 billion in sales. $10 billion in sales. That's just Dior. Okay, so there was a 34-page ruling, so this is pretty in-depth, where the judges said that the workers were made to sleep in the workplace in order to have manpower available 24 hours a day, okay? This is like a non-stop production site. Milan court ordered Dior, owned by Christian Dior, to be placed under judicial administration for 1 year. For 1 year, they've got to clean up their act for 1 year, okay? I think that's pretty lenient. I don't know if there are any penalties. I don't know if there's any compensation to the workers. There's no mention of that whatsoever. So this investigation was focused on 4 suppliers, okay? 4 small suppliers employing 32 workers, all kind of in and around Milan in Italy. 2 of the workers were illegal immigrants, and another 7 were working without required documentation. Okay, and that in and of itself is a problem. But for these workers as well, that's quite dangerous because that means that they're not documented anywhere. They don't have appropriate protections in place for their own rights. 2 of these small suppliers, okay, they invoice Dior. They invoice about 700,000 euros a year to Dior. So they may be small in relation to the Mama Jama LVMH. But if you are generating close to $1 million, almost just, not that far from $1 million a year, that's what you're invoicing to Dior, you're not that small. And they're the ones that are cutting corners. And Dior is probably encouraging or at least turning a blind eye to the working conditions and the practices that they're using to exploit their workers. And then LVMH is just like head in the sand, right? It's terrible. The staff lived and worked in hygiene and health conditions that are below the minimum required by an ethical approach. Again, LVMH made no comment, which I think is interesting. Share prices of LVMH stock did decline a little bit, like 2%. Just as soon as the news broke, I'm sure they will recover quite quickly, which is kind of a sad reality because people have short-term memories when it comes to these things. We'll see. All right, I have to read this to you guys. I don't know what this is. This is from Reuters. Dior model handbag. PO312YKY. What is that? We got to find that out. This handbag was selling for retail 2,600 euros. But this is the handbag that was charging as little as 53 euros to manufacture. Okay? I need to know what this bag is. And it's probably not just this bag, by the way, so let's not go down the wrong rabbit hole. This is just an example of what they've been doing. What is that percentage-wise, the markup? It's crazy. Now, Dior is not the only big-name luxury brand that has been caught up in this. Just recently, in April, the Milan courts also appointed someone to oversee Giorgio Armani's handbag production. Why is it the handbag specifically? For us handbag lovers, this is so disappointing. So they were accused of culpably failing to adequately oversee its suppliers. Armani said at the time it had always sought to minimize abuses in the supply chain. Well, isn't that interesting? That's your goal, that's your mission as a company, to minimize abuse. How about to be best in class, world class in how you treat and compensate your workers because you're just that classy? What the heck? They've been working to minimize abuses. I don't know. I don't want to get into semantics. Maybe it's just the language that they chose, but that's not very impressive to me at all. I feel like the more attention we give this kind of news, the better. I know it's negative news, but I think it's better because then it really does hopefully spook the other companies into tightening up and getting on top of this stuff, right? I mean, just because you're big and powerful and wealthy and you've been around for a long time does not mean you get to do whatever you want. And to me, for some reason, maybe this is delusional, maybe this is naive. When I think of luxury, I always think of classy and distinguished and in some ways aspirational. Nothing about this and these practices falls into a classy, aspirational, luxury feeling at all. It's so detached, so disconnected. So are we being sold a mirage? Is it all an illusion? I've had these questions for years. All right, that is it for today. Not a real happy, exciting kind of video, but important to share, I thought. And if you have any additional information, please let us know. I think this is going to be ongoing. Hopefully this is not the type of news that just fizzles and dies out. I want it to have an impact on the industry. I really do. I want people to wake up, and I want the companies to respond appropriately and to take accountability. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. I will read every single one of them. If you found this video to be interesting or enlightening in any way, do give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.